Hare Krishna Omagyantimiramaste Jnananjanakalakaya Sharunmeditamayena Tasmai Shri Guru. So now here Saunakadrishis actually Saunakadrishis they asked Suta Goswami if anything related to Krishna you talk. So now Suta Goswami started. He said while he was residing in the kingdom, he saw that the influence of Kali, he saw the infiltration of Kali, and then he decided to go and fight. Thought, now I got an opportunity to fight. So here, Maharaj Parikshit sat on a chariot drawn by black horses. His flag was marked with the sign of a lion. Being so decorated and surrounded by charioteers, chivalry, elephants, and infantry soldiers, he left the capital to conquer in all directions. Maharaj Parsi is distinguished from his grandfather Arjuna for black horses pulled his chariot instead of white horses. He marked his flag with the sign of a lion, and his grandfather marked his with the ensign of Hanumanji. A royal procession like that of Maharaj Parikshit, surrounded by well-decorated charioteers, chivalry, elephants, infantry, and band, is not only pleasing to eyes but also indicative of a civilization that is aesthetic even on the fighting front. So even at the time of fighting, also the kings used to and all used to wear their jewelry, which is related to it, and they used to go there like that. And white horses of Arjuna means purity, and for black horses, Maharaj Parikshit, that is maybe his taste. So then he says, Bhadrashravam Ketumalamcha Bharatam Chottaram Kurun Kim Purushadini Varshani Vijayate Jagrahe Balim. So these are actually the places which are not accessible now. Maharashtra then conquered all the parts of the earthly band, Bhadrashva, Ketumala, Bharata, and North Kuru, Kim Purusha, etc. This Kim Purusha versa we don't have. Purusha means men. Kim Purusha means what type of men they are. So that means Kim, it is a question mark. What type of men they are? That means they are actually monkeys. So Hanuman stays in Kumpur Versa and execute tributes from their respective rulers. So then Prabhupada is explaining about these Varshas at different places. The track near Mount Meru Parbat, this is Bhadrashva, and it extends from Gandhamadana Parvat to the saltwater ocean. This is a description in Mahabharata. So we don't have access for this. They had, it is much more subtler. That is the reason we hear so many other descriptions. Even in Ramayana also, if you see Lanka, what it is explained, it is 100 yojanas. 100 yojanas means it is 800 miles. But the present Sri Lanka from India is from, if you say Rameshwaram, it is not 800 miles. It's quite nearer. So how is it possible? So there are like that. And it is said even Maharaj Yudhishthira also conquered this Varsha. And Parikshit was, this is near Mount Meru. So we don't have anything near Mount Meru only. We just cannot cross Himalayas. Maharaj was formally declared to be the emperor of all lands ruled by his grandfather, but still he has established his supremacy while he was out of his capital to exact tribute from such states. And Ketumala, this is the Earth planet is divided into 7 dvipas by 7 oceans, and the central dvipa called Jambu Dvipa is divided into 9 varshas, are the parts of 9 huge mountains, and Bharata Varsha is one of the above mentioned 9 varshas. So if anybody has read cosmology, then it is easy for you to understand this Ketumala Varsha, and it is said it was conquered by Arjuna also. So this is there in even Bhagavatam also. Prabhupada's writing, it is said that this part of the world is situated on the western side of Mount Meru. We are in the southern side. So this is western side. The inhabitants of this province used to live up to 10,000 years. So you see, the place only is different, and the people who stay are also different in this place. They live for 10,000 years. Now, which part of earth we'll see people living there? That means we don't have access only to such people. The human beings living in this part of globe are of golden color. Woman resembles the angels of heaven. The inhabitants are free from all kinds of disease and grief. So this is the place which is Ketumala. Now what happens is some living entities who went to Swarga, enjoyed in the Swarga, but then their credit of pious credit is exhausted, but still it is remaining. So it is not suitable, it is not sufficient for them to enjoy in heaven. So what they come, then they come to such Ketumala, such Varshas, they stay for 10,000 years and exhaust the remaining pious credit which they have. So this is like that. So in Swarga, if you have to need say 80% of 80% of punya to enjoy there, but you only have 70. So then what to do when you come to such varshas like Ketumala, where you can exhaust that varsha. So they also have very great material sense enjoyments that are there, and this is actually the description of most of the Vedic literatures. And Saunakadrishi and Suta Goswami, the conversation for other Puranas are also between them only. That's why they are very specifically telling you tell about Krishna only, because they have already discussed about all other Puranas before, and so many other topics were already discussed. So that's why they are very specifically mentioning no, anything only Krishna only you tell, because they already heard other things. That's the thing. And Bharatavarsha, this part of the world is also one of the 9 Varshas of Jambudvipa. A description of Bharatavarsha is given in Mahabharata. In the center of Jambudvipa is Ilavata Varsha, and south of Ilavata is Harivarsha. The description of these Varshas are there in Mahabharata, Sabha Parva. Also, they are there in Bhagavatam, also in 5th canto. It is mentioned here that a woman in both these Varshas are beautiful, and some of them are equal to the Apsaras of heavenly women. This is here also it is they are not karma bhumis, they are only bhoga, they are only meant to enjoy there, so that's why they don't have reactions for their actions. Even in heaven also there is no reaction for your action, you are only exhausting the pious credits which you have acquired. So Uttarakuru, this is according to Vedic geography, the northern most portion of Jambudvipa is called Uttara Kuruvarsha, and even Pandavas walk till here, and after that they want to walk, then they don't even they could not cross this Uttara Kuru. It is surrounded by saltwater ocean from 3 sides and divided from Hiranmaya Varsha by Sangavan mountain, Shringavana mountain, and then there is Kimpurush Varsha. It is stated it is stated to be situated north of the greater Himalaya mountain, which is 80,000 miles in length and height, which covers 16,000 miles in width. These parts of the world are also conquered by Arjuna. The Kimpurushas are descendant of daughter of Daksha. When Maharaj Yudhishthira performed a house sacrifice, the inhabitants of these countries were also present to take part in the festival, and they paid tribute to emperor. This part of the world is called Kimpurusha Varsa, or sometimes the Himalayan province, Himavan. It is said that Sukadeva Goswami was born in this Himalayan province, and that he came to Bharatavarsha after crossing Himalayan countries. So Sukadeva Goswami is born in one of his pastimes, he is born in this Varsha. And in other words, Maharaj Parikshit conquered all the world. He conquered all the continents adjoining all the seas and oceans in all directions, namely the eastern, western, northern, southern part of the world. So this is the understanding that is given, and these are very nicely elaborately described. Of course, whatever is needed, that much only describe, and we don't have access for it, so that's why, and they don't feel the need to know all these things. Why this description not elaborately given? Because it is so attractive, we may forget the goal of going back to everything. Because anytime people have this tendency to travel, they always think when holidays come, let us go and see this place, see this place. So then if description is given, of course it is given in other Puranas. If description is given, then there will be a tendency, oh, let us go and do one visit and come. Not to encourage in that direction. Of course, in Vedas and other Puranas it is there, especially Bhagavatam don't tell all these things because it unnecessarily distracts a person from his goal. That's it. So then now this is a very important sloka here. Wherever the king visited, he continuously heard the glories of his great forefathers, who were all devotees of the Lord, and also the glorious acts of Lord Krishna. He also heard how he himself have been protected by the Lord from the powerful heat of the weapon of Ashwathama. People also mentioned the great affection between the descendants of Vrishni and Pratha due to the latter's great devotion to Lord Keshava. The king, being very pleased with the singers of such glories, opened his eyes in great satisfaction. Out of magnanimity, he was pleased to award them very valuable necklaces and clothing. Prabhupada is writing, the kings and great personalities of the state are presented with welcome address. This is a system from time immemorial, and Maharaj Parikshit, since he was one of the well-known emperors of the world, was also presented with address of welcome in all parts of the world as he visited these places. Like if the prime minister of our country goes to another country, they have welcome and they conduct some programs to entertain him. They have some cultural events and all. So similarly, wherever Parikshit Maharaj, the glorification is one of the, along with the cultural event, this is also there. The subject matter of this welcome address was Krishna. Krishna means Krishna and his eternal associates, and Krishna means Krishna and his confidential associates. So this is the culture of any, and it is not just flattery. Prabhupada is going to explain. It is not just flattering. Actually, it is they are talking the truth only, and kings need to listen it. This is also very important. Kings need this glorification because that will help them to work and maintain the dharma and their position. So they need to hear this regularly about their glories, and that will help them to maintain the chivalry and to adhere to dharma, all these things. So as soon as the king wakes up in the bed, immediately Sutas, Magadas, Vrindas, they come and glorify. Some glorify their ancestors, some glorify the acts they did, and all these personalities are meant, they are employed by the king so that he will always be in that state of consciousness, which is very, very important for a king. He takes all the facilities because he takes that much risk also. For any person to depend on a Kshatriya, why people, they know that this person, he may die, but he will never give up his word. That is a Kshatriya. So Kshatriya gives word that I will protect, means he may die, but he will never give up that word. So that is the reason people, they take shelter of Kshatriya. They say, okay, if this king is there, I am protected under him. Why I am protected under him? Because he may protect me, he may die, but he will definitely protect me. So that is the reason. That is where for Kshatriya, that's why it is very important. So when Arjuna came crying, Yudhishthira is asking, did you give any word and did not keep it? That is not at all imagined by a Kshatriya, because once you do it, then what happens is then nobody can trust you. Say, oh, this person cannot keep his word. Then you will not have followers. Previously, it is not like any democratic system. The system was people voluntarily accepted him as their leader and then they just followed like that. The Krishna and his unalloyed devotees cannot be separated, and therefore glorifying the devotees means glorifying the Lord and vice versa. Maharaj Parikshit would not have been glad to hear about the glories of his forefathers like Maharaj Yudhishthira and Arjuna had they not been connected with the acts of Lord Krishna. The Lord descends specifically to deliver his devotees, Paritranaya Sadhuna. The devotees are glorified by the presence of the Lord because they cannot live for a moment without the presence of Lord by his different energies. The Lord is present for the devotees by his acts and glories, and therefore Maharaj Parikshit felt the presence of Lord when he was glorified for his acts, especially for saving Maharaj Parikshit in the womb of his mother. The devotees of Lord are never in danger, but in the material world, which is full of, this is a nice point to remember. the devotees of Lord are never in danger. But in the material world, which is full of dangers at every step, the devotees are apparently placed into dangerous position. You see, this is not that they are danger; they are apparently placed in dangerous position, and when they are saved by the Lord is glorified. So it is nobody can do anything to devotees. Lord only have to arrange the situation. That's why it is apparently in a dangerous situation. Even Vritrasura is dying in a battlefield with Indra. It looks like Vritrasura is defeated and he is not protected. But no, Vritrasura is protected. Indra got defeated, even though it is looking other way around. From all the other Puranas, that is like that. But Krishna's point of view, Vritrasura is successful because Yetavan Sankhya Yoga Abhyam Sadharma Parinishhtaya Janmalabha Parapumsam Ante Narayana Spriti. This happened to Vritrasura. He could remember Lord at the time of death. That's why it is successful. So, any dangerous situation, it is apparently dangerous, but what Krishna protects is Krishna protects the consciousness of the devotees. That is a real protection. We have to understand. And of course, he protects directly also physical body, and that's why he is glorified. Lord Krishna would not have been glorified as a speaker of Bhagavad Gita had his devotee like Pandavas not been entangled in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So, say Arjuna is in danger, I am helping him, like that. All such acts of Lord. Now here Parikshit is also in problem, and Krishna is going to come as Bhagavatam. All such acts of Lord were mentioned in the address of welcome, and Maharaj Parikshit, in full satisfaction, rewarded those who presented such addresses. The difference between the this is another important point. The difference between the presentation of welcome address today and in those days is that formally the welcome address was presented to a person like Maharaj Parikshit. The welcome address is full of facts and figures, and those who present such address were sufficiently rewarded. Whereas in the present days, the welcome addresses are presented not always with factual statements, but to please the post holders. And often they are full of flattering lies. And rarely are those present such welcome address rewarded by the poor receiver. So it does not touch the heart and satisfy the heart. So that is the problem. And now another nice thing about Maharaj Parikshit. Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna, this is so what is pleasing to them is Krishna is with them. So it is very interesting. He says that Maharaj Parikshit heard that out of his causeless mercy, Lord Krishna, who is universally obeyed, rendered all kinds of service to the malleable Pandavas. This is very, very important. So this shloka is also Saratya Parshada Sevana Sakya Dautya Virasananu Stavana Pranama Snigdeshu Pandusha Jagati Pranatim Cha Vishnur Bhaktim Karor Nipatis Charana Ravinde. This is a memorization shloka. Actually, we should again start our memorization. We have left long back, so many chapters are remain. We'll take up again. If project somehow, if you finish some syllabus, we can take shlokas again. So Saratya Parsha Shakya Dautya. So what all services Krishna did, Parikshit Maharaj is hearing. He became a charioteer. Parshada is accepting the presidency in the Rajya sacrifice. Sevana, he engaged in the service of the Pandavas. Sakya Dautya is they think Lord as their friend. Dautya means they gave him a post of a message carrier. Virasananuga. So Virasananuga is he accepted the postman job also. And he just followed in the footsteps of Yudhishthira, Stavana Praman. So all this so here Maharaj Bachchan Krishna, who is universally obeyed, rendered all kinds of service to the malleable Pandavas. This is very important. Snigdeshu is Pandavas are very, very malleable. This is the reason Lord is rendering all services. I'll explain this. Prabhupada also explains this. By accepting posts ranging from the chariot driver to president to messenger, friend, night watchman, etc., according to the will of Pandavas, obeying them like a servant and offering obeisances like an younger in years. When he heard this, Maharaj Parikshit became overwhelmed with devotion to the lotus feet of Lord. So of course it is like Lord is Lord, your ancestors. Lord was a very personal to your ancestors. If you come to know it, you'll also feel so much ecstasy. You'll also feel overwhelmed. My God, Lord is so close to my ancestors, like that. And Lord Krishna is everything to unalloyed devotees like the Pandavas. The Lord was for them the supreme Lord, the spiritual master, the worshipable deity, the guide, the chariot driver, the friend, the servant, the messenger, and everything they could conceive of. And thus the Lord also reciprocated the feelings of Pandavas. Maharaj Parikshit, as a pure devotee of Lord, could appreciate the Lord's transcendental reciprocation of the feelings of his devotees, and thus he himself was also overwhelmed with the dealings of the Lord. Simply by appreciating the dealings of Lord with his pure devotees, one can attain salvation. The Lord's dealing with his devotees appear to be ordinary human dealings, but one who knows them in truth becomes at once eligible to go back to God. So, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Vetti Tattvataha. We need to understand it properly. That's why we are doing so much exercise of reading all the shlokas with Acharya's commentary, because this Tattvata word is very important. We may say, Arey, Janma Karma Chivedim. I know Krishna's activity is Bhartar Divyam, but it is not Divyam just our some. We need to have very deep understanding of what is this Divyam. That's why it is Tattvataha. Janma Karma Chamedivam Yevam Vetti Tattvataha. Then Tektva Deham. Then when we leave this body, we will not take birth again. And the last point is very important. The Pandavas are so malleable to the will of the Lord that they could sacrifice any amount of energy for the service of Lord. So that is the reason Lord is doing everything for them. And by such unalloyed determination, they could secure the Lord's mercy in any shape they desired. So, malleable means you are so much you can be molded in any direction. Whatever Lord wants, He is like the way He wanted to set example or He wanted to do something. Anything that is Lord is asking, that is happening. So, this is the point here. Now, this we need to understand. Malleable means you can mold in any shape. And Pandavas, for any activity, Krishna can utilize them. Krishna want to utilize them to set an example. Krishna want Arjuna to lament. Krishna want Yudhishthira to like. Krishna want, and they are going through such a hardships in the forest and gambling match and so many things. But they know Krishna always knows that these people are only becoming more and more close to me. They never leave me. So it is like that. तस्यैवं वर्तमानस्य पूर्वेषां वर्तिम् अन्वहन् नातिदूरे किलाश्चर्यं यद् आसीत् निबोध मे. Now you may hear from me of what happened not far from Maharaj Parikshit while he was passing his days hearing the good occupations of his forefathers and being absorbed in thought of them. Dharmapadi केन चरण विद्याम् उपलब्धैर्धाम प्रचति स्म सम आसुर वदनाम विवत्साम इव मातराम. So from here the story again starts. So different story. This is the very important section because this is dealing with Kali Yuga, and Kali Yuga is a very important part of section of first canto Bhagavatam, because Lord's incarnation is Kali Yuga makes it very relevant. Why Lord has to incarnate as Bhagavatam in Kali Yuga, and this conversation also makes us understand the relevance of Bhagavatam in Kali Yuga and why this incarnation is very special incarnation, like that. The personality of religious principles Dharma was wandering about in the form of a bull. When he met the personality of earth in the form of cow, who appeared to grieve like a mother who had lost her child, she had tears in her eyes and the beauty of her body was lost. Thus Dharma questioned the mother as follows. So this is the conversation Now it is not that they cannot be seen by ordinary people. It is happening in a very subtle platform. Whereas Parikshit have access for it, whereas normal people don't have access. So Dharma and Bhumi Devi. This is the conversation that is happening amongst them. The bull is an emblem of moral principle and the cow is a representative of the earth. When the bull and the cow are in a joyful mood, it is to be understood that the people of world are also in a joyful mood. So that's very simple. So cow and bull both should be joyful if the society need to be happy. And they are sent to slaughterhouses and they don't have food, they eat in the dustbins and all. They are very unhappy, and that is actually what is happening to the whole society. The reason is that the bull helps production of grains in the agricultural fields. Now we don't need bulls, we have tractors. Even in the most remote villages also they have tractors. What they do is they take it on rent. Like in if a 5 6 villages, one person has tractor, so he gives on rent to all the people who have land there. So he comes 1 hour, 1 day this much, 1 day this much. So then everybody is using tractor because to maintain bull you need to really work very hard. Tractor is no need, you just have to put some diesel and then put, and just some repair work will be there, that's all. So what happens in that is, if you have bull, they work only if you have relation with them. So you have to develop a proper relation with bull and proper relation with cow, and then they will work. uh, Now people don't want to take it because they don't have time for developing a relation with the bulls. They are busy with their mobiles and TV. So then they take, okay, we will spend our time with television and mobile, and then we'll use a tractor and plow, and that's all, because tractor will never say anything. So what happens is, human beings, they are losing that sensitivity now. They don't understand what it is meant to be a person, because they are not treating anything as person only. And then there is no personal relationships. Nirvisesha Shunyavadi. This Shunyavadi is so much in the present age. People, they are not able to relate to people so much. Previously it was very easy because whole village was like a big family, everybody knows each other. Now in cities they are afraid, they don't know even neighbors also. Of course some parts of uh, India still we have this, but in some villages everybody knows each other, but especially when it comes to cities, it is becoming more and more difficult. People don't want, they're so much isolating themselves and they live in isolation, and because of which there is so much insecurity, loneliness, depressions, all these complicated problems are coming for people, and then they have to survive on depression tablets and all these tablets, stress and all. So this is all because of not being in a personal state. Everything is a person here. People don't touch anything with leg, they are very careful. They don't they have to, everything they treat as a proper personal form. Now but it is not like that. What is happening is, because in modern education the training is very very, the training does not start properly, because Vedic education, this training starts with respect. First thing you have to learn is start giving respect to guru. Now in modern education, first thing you are taught is how to insult the teacher. And even parents also they criticize, chastise teachers, because teachers now they work for money. So people think I can purchase education by money. All these things no, becomes very complicated, and they don't understand that this person, it is not just education means not some information. Education is a transformation of heart. That means a person should learn to develop relationship, he should learn proper communication, proper association, and then he should develop that sensitivity. All these things are needed, the finer things are lost now. So if the mother is working and the child is kept at the babysitting and all, what is happening to the child is he become that sensitivity is lost. They'll become more gross actually. It looks like they are doing everything nicely, they are having good grades, they have good nice job and they have good money, but they lost that human sensitivity part, that softness of heart, that dealing with people. People are completely confused how to relate. They only know go with friends, have some fun and all. But they lost what they lost. First thing is the respect is lost. This is the greatest disservice that is happening because of modern education. Is they feel everything you can purchase with money and you don't respect. If you don't respect, there's no question of real transformation with the help of knowledge. This is a very unfortunate situation in the modern times. So, of course, this topic will continue more and more. More we can discuss on that. Now, the reason is that the bull helps production of grains in the agricultural feed and the cow delivers milk, the miracle of the aggregate food values. The human society therefore maintains these two important animals very carefully so that they can wander everywhere in cheerfulness. But this is very unfortunate situation now. We cannot do much. You can feed few cows, that's all. But it is not possible now to change much because the whole Kali is so powerful and we are fighting with Kali personified. How can we fight? Only thing is we can do is devotional service to Krishna, and Krishna will do whatever needful. But the present moment in the age of Kali, both like I am not telling we should not do anything because Prabhupada also did not do anything much. Bhaktisiddhanta Siddhanta did not do anything in the direction. They only preached Krishna consciousness. They established some goshalas. That much only they did. They did not outright confront with Kali. They said they did not start a movement to of fighting against Kali in terms of cow protection or in terms of establishing and removing all these other dharmas and all. They did not do. That's my point. So, at the present moment, in this age of Kali, both the bull and cow are now being slaughtered and eaten up as foodstuffs by a class of men who do not know the Brahminical culture. The bull and cow can be protected for the good of all human society simply by spreading a Brahminical culture as the topmost perfection of all cultural affairs. By advancement of such culture, the model of society is properly maintained, and so the peace and prosperity are also attained without extraneous effects. And now people may argue, people may say, Are Prabhupada wanted us to do that job. We should go and do this job. Prabhupada gave the instructions. He is clearly telling you should spread Brahminical culture. We will take up the job of spreading Brahminical culture. When the Brahminical culture deteriorates, the cow and bull are mistreated, and the resultant actions are prominent by the following symptoms. Now the point is we can encourage somebody who is in the direction. Ourselves will not be able to do it. That is the point. We should not, because very few people perform pure devotional service. Other people can work on dharma. There are many people who are dharmic and all, so they can take up the job and we can encourage them to do it. But for ourselves personally, we should do only pure devotional. We should not get distracted. That is the point. So, and so dharma vacha. So now this is a conversation between Dharma and Prithvi Devi. This is a very nice conversation, and Parikshit Maharaj's question also will be very nice here. Dharma vacha kachit badre anamayam atmanaste vichayasi malayate eshna mukhyena alakshye bhavati antaradhini Dure bandhum sochasi kanchanamba. He says, Dharma in the form of the bull asked, Madam, are you not hale and healthy? Why are you covered with the shadow of grief? It appears by your face that you have become black. Are you suffering from some internal disease, or are you thinking of some relative who is away in a distant place? Now it looks like Krishna's mission is not fulfilled because Krishna came to protect Prithvi Devi. And now Krishna left again, she is crying. He came to reduce the burden, and he reduced the burden, and after 36 years he leaves. And again Kali comes. Again Prithvi Devi is in trouble. So just for 36 to give Prithvi Devi the pleasure of 36 years he came, uh, or maybe because if these people join Kali Yuga, it will be much worse. So it is little better that they died. Because if such type of demonic kings live like Duryodhana and Karna and all these things, so if they live for Jarasandha, if they live for Kali Yuga, then it will be much more dangerous. So Krishna removed them before they enter into Kali. And mm, I don't know the reason, but 36 years is quite less. Because the Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years, and double of it, 8,64,000 years is what is Dwapar Yuga. So of all these two yugas, Krishna appears and he stays maybe 120 years with 36 years in that. So only that much, because at the end of Kurukshetra and after 36 years Pandavas rule. It looks like 36 years they have uh, Krishna gave that facility to Mother Earth. More important than that is Krishna's touching Mother Earth is actually what gave her pleasure. So that is one of the reason Mother Earth prayed, oh, I have some problem. So Krishna said, okay, I'm coming. So Krishna came and stayed. So the bliss of Krishna's presence, that's what even the gopis also they sing. No? Jayati Tedikam Janmana Vraja. So why Vraja is glorified, and of course even earth is also glorified because of the presence of Lord. I don't know. We have to see if acharyas have any commentaries. I don't know what exactly Earth got benefited when Krishna appeared. He killed all the demonic kings, but it's just 36 years and then he disappeared again. Kali comes and Mother Earth is crying. The people of this of the world in the age of Kali are always full of anxieties. That means what? Previous ages there are no anxiety. That is the reason they could concentrate. They are able to concentrate and practice the higher forms of yoga, dhyana, and all these things, which is not possible in Kali Yuga. That is a very, very, very simple process is given in Kali Yuga compared to other ages. You no need to do dhyana or karma, yoga and all this. Kali Yuga, the process so simple. Like sometime in the schools now we have this system. Some children they cannot clear only. Like in South India they have Hindi subject. Hindi subject in South India. Now to clear Hindi, because it was very difficult previously for people to clear Hindi subject. So what they do, they have special classes, and even that also not understood. Then they give very, very simple question paper so that okay, somehow you pass. So like that in Kali Yuga also, it's so tough for anybody to practice any spirituality. Said okay, okay, let it be. Just chant Hare Krishna. Just chant Hare Krishna. It's such a simple thing. But even then, people say, "Oh, I don't have time," and all these things, and so many things are there to do in life, because they don't understand the purpose of life. They think so many other things are life. But in previous ages, it was not like that. People know the purpose of life is very clear for them. But thing is, they lived for a long time and they had very great control on their mind and senses. That was possible. Because they lived such life, Dhritarashtra could perfect his life within 6 days, finish. He just concentrated 6 days, he could attain liberation. Of course, that is Vidura's mercy is also there, but he lived, their lifestyle was like that actually. They could concentrate. So another symptoms, everyone is diseased with some kind of ailment. From the very faces of the people of age, one can find out the index of mind. This is very important. So face is in everyone feels the absence of his relatives who is away from home. So very important point this also. The particular symptom of age of Kali is that no family is now blessed to live together. It is so these are all the things that is happening. So previously Chanakya Pandit says, who is happy? Who need not go out for work to earn money and who is not having debt. So this person is happy. And Now presently everybody is out of house and everybody has their debts to clear. They have so many EMIs to pay. To earn a livelihood, a father lives at a place far away from the son, or the wife lives far away from the husband, and so on. These are the sufferings from internal, there are sufferings from internal diseases, separation from those near and dear, the anxiety for maintaining the status quo. These are but some important factors which makes the people of this age very unhappy. And now social media is there, which makes people more unhappy because people don't like what you post. People don't appreciate, they make comments on it. So that is also another extra burden for people. So maintain suffering, diseases, internal, external. And sometimes people feel staying away is only much better because they cannot stay together. It's so difficult to stay with anybody. You say, you stay here, I'll stay here, let us be peaceful in that way. So people are not able to communicate with others properly. So this is another problem. And we'll see, I have lost three of my legs and now standing on one only. So this is Dharma is speaking. So he's asking that why are you so unhappy, but he himself is in a situation, he's saying, I lost my standing only one. Are you lamenting for my state of existence? So Dharma is asking you, are you lamenting because my legs are like this, means I lost my legs? Or are you in a great anxiety because henceforth the unlawful meat eaters will exploit you? Or are you in a sorry plight because the demigods are now bereft of their share of sacrificial offerings because no sacrifice are being performed at present? So all these things are very, very clear. So Dharma is lost his three legs. What are the three legs? There is austerity, there is mercy, there is uh, uh, so austerity is lost when there is intoxication, and mercy is lost when you eat meat. And then there is purity, that is lost when there is illicit sex, and truthfulness when there is gambling. So these three things are already gone. So here meat eating is happening, unlawful people. And then there is also demigods, they don't get any sacrifice. And this what happens, demigods supply all the ingredients, now they don't supply. And are you grieving of living beings for suffering due to famine and drought? So same, they have this is all created by themselves only. Prabhupada writes very, very big purport. We'll just complete with this purport. Please hear nicely. Prabhupada makes very, very important points in this. With the progress of age of Kali, four things particularly, namely the duration of life, mercy, the power of recollection, and the moral of or religious principles will be gradually diminished. This is a very important. Other things now is okay. If you don't have much big life, you don't have power of recollection, but moral religious principles are only not there. Then since dharma or the principles of religion would be lost in the proportion of 3 out of 4, the symbolic bull was standing on one leg only. So this is symbolic. That's what I was telling. It is in a different plane, that is Parikshit Maharaj seeing. It is a symbolic. When 3/4 of the population of the world becomes irreligious, the situation is converted into hell for the animals. In the age of Kali, godless civilization will create so many so-called religious societies in which the personality of Godhead will be directly or indirectly defied. And thus, faithless societies of men will make the world uninhabited from the saner section of people. This atheistic societies are unlimited atheistic societies, even from the ideologies like communism, all these things, even capitalism also, nothing to do with God. So maybe tomorrow I'll discuss on this topic of education. I heard about how to believe in Shastra. Very few things are there, but they're very interesting to understand and analyze what is modern education and Vedic education. Of course, that topic was also there, but some more things which we'll share. Prabhupada writing that and thus faithless societies of men will make the world uninhabited for the senior section of the world. There are gradations of human being in terms of proportionate faith in the Supreme Personality of God. The first class faith men are the Vaishnavas and the Brahmanas, then the Kshatriyas, then Shudras, and then the Shudras, Vaishyas, then the Shudras, and the Mlechas. The Yavanas, and at last the Chandala. So Vaishnavas are first. So Vaishnavas have maximum. So there can be Kshatriya Vaishnava, Vaishya Vaishnava. Vaishnavas are on the top. The degradation of human instinct begins from the Mechas and the Chandalas. State of life is the last word in human degradation. All the above terms mentioned in the Vedic literature are never meant for any particular community or birth. There are different qualifications of human. So it's not by birth, it is based on qualifications. There is no question of birthright or community. One can acquire the respective qualification by one's own efforts, and thus the son of a Vaishnava can become a Lecha, or a son of a Chandala can become more than a Brahmana, all in terms of their association and uh, relation with the intimate relation with the Supreme Lord. And Prabhupada, the meat eaters are generally called mlechas. Actually, they are drinking blood. They can be called rakshasas also. But all meat eaters are not mlechas. Those who accept meat in terms of spiritual injunctions are not mlechas. But those who accept meat without restrictions are called mlechas. Beef is forbidden in the scriptures, and the bull and cows are offered special protection by the followers of Vedas. But in this age of Kali, people will exploit the body of bull and cow as they like, and thus they will invite suffering of various types. The people of this age will not perform any sacrifice. The Mlecha population will care very little for performance of sacrifice. Although performance sacrifice is essential for person who are materially engaged in sense enjoyment. So this is very important. So very strongly this Bhagavad Gita performance sacrifice is strongly recommended for whom? Who want to enjoy in this world. Compulsory they have to do sacrifice. What will happen is that will help them to enjoy in a legal way. Otherwise it becomes illegal and they have to pay a very big price. The living beings are created by the creator Brahma, and just to maintain the created living beings, beings progressively just to maintain the created living beings progressively towards the path back to Godhead, the system of performance sacrifice is also created by him. So this is what is the system. This is a very scientifically developed system. This is what is the important thing of this sacrifice means. If I want to enjoy, I have to give. This is very simple to understand. If I am giving, I can enjoy. To the degree I give, to the degree I can enjoy. I cannot enjoy just taking. So I have to give. The system of that living being live on a produce of grains and vegetables, and by eating such foodstuffs, uh, they get vital power of body in the shape of blood and semen. From blood and semen, one living being is able to create another living being. There's a production of grains, grass, etc. becomes possible by rain, and the rain is made by the made to shower properly by performance of recommended sacrifice. Such sacrifices are directed by the rites of Vedas, namely Sama, Yajur, Rig, and Atharva. In the Manusmriti, it is recommended that by offering of sacrifice on the altar of the fire, the sun god is pleased. When the sun god is pleased, he properly collects water from the seas, and thus sufficient clouds collect on the horizon and rain falls. After sufficient rainfall, there is sufficient production of food grains for all men and animals, and that there is energy in the living being for progressive activity. The Mlechas, however, make plan to install slaughterhouses for killing bulls and cows along with other animals, thinking that they will prosper by increasing the number of factories and live on animal food without caring for performance of sacrifice and production of food grains. But they must know that for the animals they must produce grains, and that for themselves they must produce vegetables, because they cannot live on animal food alone, and to produce grass and vegetables they require sufficient rain. Therefore they have to adopt ultimately depend ultimately on the mercy of the demigods like the sun god Indra and Chandra. Such demigods must be satisfied by performance of sacrifice. So what they do? They cut Amazon forest. They cut millions of the size of India. That much forest is cut every day, every year in Brazil rainforest. So what they do? They produce soya bean, and that is fed to the animals, and animals eat, and then people eat these animals. So they have hundreds and thousands of acres of soya bean they produce so that they can supply it to the European nations where they have this livestock they call. So they feed animals and then they eat them. That's all. So now last, there is a nice point Prabhupada is going to make. The materialistic men want to work hard and enjoy fruitive results for sense enjoyment. Thus, they are committing many types of sins at every step of life. This is a very important. We will discuss this tomorrow also, Morello. Those, however, who are consciously engaged in the devotional service of the Lord are transcendental to all varieties of sin and virtue. These activities are free from the contamination of the three modes of material nature. For the devotees, there is no need for performance of prescribed sacrifice because the very life of devotee is symbol of sacrifice. That means devotee is meant for others only. He should always serve. That's why his life is a symbol of sacrifice because he's only serving. He's not. He don't want to enjoy. But persons who are engaged in fruitive activities for sense enjoyment must perform the prescribed sacrifice because that is the only means to get free from the reactions of all sins committed by fruitive workers. Sacrifice is the means for contracting such accumulated sins. The demigods are pleased when such sacrifices are performed, just as prison officers are satisfied when the prisons are turned into law-abiding citizens. Lord Chaitanya, however, has recommended only one yajna or sacrifice called the Sankirtan yajna, the chanting of Hare Krishna, in which everyone can take part. Thus, both the devotees and fruitive workers can derive equal benefit from the performance of Sankirtan. Okay, thank you all very much. Any questions, comments? We'll continue from this part from tomorrow. Thank you all very much. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai, Gantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki. Oh, Kalpana Mataji, you have some question. Yes, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You able to hear me?
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhuji. That Tattvataha part you told, na Prabhuji, can you explain what does that exactly mean? I want to know in little detail. Say Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. Yo me Tattvataha.
Okay, Mataji. Tomorrow, first point we'll discuss is that only then. I will explain it properly.
Explain to other people, especially who come new to ISKCON, they just feel, okay, we worship Krishna. That is enough. No need to know so much in detail about it. How to reach them with this aspect, Prabhuji. That's what I wanted to understand more.
Sure, sure, sure.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So, Hare Krishna. Thank you.